Yes. Okay, so week 3, episode 8 of the Read With Me series. All right. And if you have missed any of the episodes, go back to all of the previous posts, and you can, catch up on it and actually, get all the juices. Get all the juices, because my goodness, it's so good, like so good. I mean, like, I am not over it yet. So go back and watch all of the episodes. So we are reading The Joy of Marriage God's Way. The Joy of Marriage God's Way by Beverly Lahale. And there's so much content in this thing. Very insightful. Go back and read it. So last week we were talking about, I'm just going to jump right into it. If at any point you have any comments, any questions or anything that we want to, want us to expand on or just discuss and have your views about, please feel free to put it in the comment section. And also invite as many people also to hear, to watch this. So last week we were talking about the barriers of spiritual intimacy. The barriers of spiritual intimacy. And I know, like, when we have a relationship, we want it to be like, very intimate. We want to have very intimate relationship with somebody, with our significant other. But many a times our reality is so, like, what we hope for is really far from our reality, and then how do we get to that place or the vision that we envision for our relationships? Last week we outlined like 6 barriers. We said number 1 is stress. Number 2, time. And number 3, satanic assault. And number 4, selfishness. And 5, traditions and culture can also affect somebody being spiritually intimate with their spouse or their husband or wife, and a basis for all of this thing that we're talking about, because if we're saying that we want to do marriage God's way, first of all, we must know God, and have a relationship with Him in order for us. Oh, my bro is here. Hello, good morning. It's his first time joining, so good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining today. So I'm just going right into it. As I was saying, I'm reading the book, The Joy of Marriage God's Way by Beverly Lahale. And as I was saying, last week we were talking about the barriers to spiritual intimacy, and I was saying that, if we want to do marriage God's way, we must actually have a relationship with God ourselves in order for Him to be able to, in order for us to give Him access, we want to give Him access into our relationship. Like, we don't want to do it in our own way or whatever, because to be honest, a lot of us, we have tried our own way, and how has it helped us so far, and I just feel like it just breaks my heart, when our relationships, we have issues in our relationships and everything like that. And the thing is, we need a lot of knowledge, and we need to start having this kind of conversations, basically. So today we are going to number 7, and it is knowledge. And it says, maybe one or both of you don't understand who God is and how to approach Him together. So we're talking about on the topic now, the barriers to spiritual intimacy in our relationship. And this point is saying that knowledge, maybe one of the parties in the relationship, or both of them, don't understand who God is and how to approach Him together. So that might be a reason why there's no intimacy, there's no spiritual intimacy or spiritual connection, in that relationship. So that's what the author is saying here. And it says that Hebrew 11 verse 6 tells us that whoever comes to God must first believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. So if you're going to come to God, if you're going to say that, oh, I even want to do relationship God's way or whatever, we must actually believe that there is a God, and we must actually believe that He actually exists, and then He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. So there's this conflict. There must be no conflict between you and God. I'm feeling like, maybe there might be a lot of things that might be in our mind, or that have clouded our judgment about God in the past, based on how we have related to people of God or whatever, we need to settle all of those things in order for us to really walk through, have a clear relationship, a smooth relationship with God, in order for us to even, invite him into our relationship in the first place. And that also starts with personally, before we start, inviting somebody else, changing somebody else, or thinking of changing anybody. We have to work on ourselves first, forget about changing any other person. Let's work on myself, and that way we can begin. When we get to that point of being healthy ourselves, then we can begin to have an healthy relationship with somebody else, So if you have any comments, please, as I'm talking, please put it in the comment section. I would really love to hear from you. So I just read on. It says, maybe you don't know how to pray or start reading the Bible. The author says, I recommend that you seek out a Bible-believing pastor, get involved in your local church, and get started in your journey. So this is just trying to say that, seek. This is the new year, 2022. It's a new year. Like, so far, the many decades that we have lived so far, we need to, it's a new year now. Let's begin to evaluate our lives and say, okay, all of the decisions I've made so far, how has it helped me in my life? How has it helped me? Am I getting better? Is this the kind of version of myself that I want to be? In that kind of way, we need to start asking all of those questions. And when we talk about, us seeking God, most of the time we put it in the back burner. To be honest, we pursue other things more than God. Just put it like, yeah, God, you'll be grand. I'm going to see you later. Like, I'll see you later. Do you get what I mean? But Flair Master, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much. I think this is the first time somebody, I don't know that person, but thank you so much for joining in. We are reading the Read With Me series and The Joy of Marriage God's Way by Beverly LaHale. So, and we're doing episode 8. If you have missed any of the episodes, please go back and watch the previous episode. Okay, so as I was saying, I said most of the time, a lot of us, most of the time, we don't prioritize our relationship with God in whatever shape or form. Most of the time, if you are lucky enough to grow up in a home whereby probably they know about God or whatever, and they kind of put you in the line of God, then you're a bit lucky, and then, but a lot of times when you get to your adults and everything, do we actively pursue God to really know who he is? I'm not talking about religion here. I'm not talking about just going to church or just no. But knowing God for yourself, having a relationship with God. In your heart of hearts, you know that there is a God, And this kind of conversations, I don't want to shy away from it. This kind of conversations, I want to bring you to the upfront. Why? Because, you see, this life is actually very short. You see, we need to start having all of these conversations, At the end of it all, when the breath of life is gone, Jesus, you gonna be like, seriously? What have I been doing with my life? Do you get me? Hello, you're welcome, Cleo, Ivy. Thank you so much for joining in. You're most welcome. What are we gonna be? You'll be like, my God, what is going on? But all of these things, but we just go through the motions of life and do like que sera, whatever. Do you get what I mean? And all of these things are in the back burner. We're not thinking about it. We're not talking about it, but it has so much effect in our lives. You see, we have so much effect in our lives. Please share your comments in the comment section, because I would like to actually, hear from you, hear your thoughts. So the first one is, we cannot have spiritual intimacy with anybody. We cannot have spiritual intimacy in our relationship if, first of all, ourselves, we don't even know God or have a relationship with God ourselves. That cannot be portrayed, in our relationship in whatever shape or form. That's what that point is saying there. Then number 8 also says the gender gap. The gender gap. There is a gap. It says men and women often see things differently. That is true. The way a man will see something is different from the way a woman will see something. Thank you so much, Oyin Abibola, for joining. Thank you so much. My name is Abiola, and you're welcome to the Read With Me series this morning. So I'll just keep along with our conversation. So another point is the gender gap. Men and women often see things differently. They often see things differently. Intimacy can mean one thing to the husband and another to the wife, which is so true. if I ask you now in the comment section, please put it. What does intimacy mean to you? When I say that, okay, I want to have an intimate relationship with somebody, so tell me, what does that mean to you? Because that interpretation means different things to different people. A woman might say, no, let me just hear from the comment section first. So intimacy, what does it mean to you? And I'll read on, and if I see your comments, I'll read it out. So it says that intimacy can mean one thing to the husband and another to the wife. That's why we have to connect. It says, and we have to discuss these differences up front. I've heard many husbands say, I'm pretty intimate as a husband. I've really invested in our marriage. I took my wife out to eat this week. I mowed the lawn and I bathed the kids. I invest a lot of time in my wife and family. Well, according to the wife, is far from a 10 out of 10. See? Why? It says it might be a 6 out of 10. Most of her needs she feels are not getting met. Meanwhile, the husband feels that, he's doing great. You see, this is where the gender gap comes in because of the way we interpret all of these things. It says that, so what does she do? She continues to push him, doesn't she? Which only makes him feel more threatened, which threatens their intimacy. You see, so he thinks such behavior is demanding and controlling. You see the way, you see where the conflict now starts now, because we are not interpreting what intimacy means to me is different from what intimacy means to the man or the husband, and then we don't communicate what we feel like will help us be closer to our spouse or to our partner or to our significant other, and that these are also barriers in actually being closely knitted in a relationship. Another thing, let me say, from men's point of view, when talk about intimacy, they just think of intimacy and they just think of sex. Like intimacy, yeah, that is it. But a woman might feel like intimacy, like share your hearts, share your heart. Okay, yes, I have a comment here. I'm a secret said, intimate, I would interpret as into my mate. Into my mate. Basically, very, very close relationship with my partner. Yeah. Thank you so much, I'm secret, for that comment. It says into my mate. Basically, very, very close relationship, like very, very close relationship. And even for men, they feel like they cannot have a close relationship without having sex with the person. They're like, that is what they feel like. That's the intimacy. But for a woman, a woman feels like, what is inside of you? Like, share your heart with me. Talk to me. Yeah, that's, I don't know. Ladies, please put it in the comment section what you feel like intimacy is, because we want to have different views, to be able to share our hearts together. So for a woman, you feel like, why are you having a relationship with me if you cannot even share what is in your heart? What are you thinking? What is your mind? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? Share your heart with me. But, spend quality time. I know a lot of women like quality time. Some women too like maybe gifts. I don't know. Some women like, buy me stuff, gifts and all that. So it depends on whatever it is, what translates as, their own love language or the way they want to be loved, So, and it differs. These are the things that can alter our intimacy with our significant other, So that's what the author is saying here. And it says that, on the other hand, the wife, this is what I was reading. On the other hand, the wife thinks, I'm not going to settle for 6 out of 10. I'm getting my needs met, and that's important. I'm not getting my needs met, and that's important to me. Okay? So rather than fight it out, we need to talk it out. Ooh. Rather than fight it out, we need to talk it out. And this, it says that discuss your differences. Discuss your differences. Learn to connect. A healthy relationship should be a relationship whereby you can share your views. You can talk freely. An environment, atmosphere whereby you can express your disagreement or your hurt or whatever. This is the vision of the relationship we are thinking of. We are planning to have a relationship. The past episodes, we talked about a safe relationship, having a safe atmosphere, a safe relationship whereby you can be vulnerable with one another. You are honest. Honesty, those two things we talked about in the last one are the bricks of healthy relationship. Being in a safe space, healthy relationship, a place whereby you can be who you are. You are honest with one another. You understand what I'm saying? That is a relationship that is worth having. And that in that kind of relationship, you can be able to talk it out and not fight it out, but talk it out. Discuss your differences. Learn to connect. Remember, intimacy relationship, intimacy. So when you do, you close that gender gap and open the doors for spiritual intimacy. So that is the 8 points there. If you have any comments or any questions, anything, please put it down in the comment section before the end of the broadcast, or after. If you're watching this a replay, please feel free to put it down in the comment section below. Then the 9th point is one-upmanship. One-upmanship is another issue. It says inferiority and superiority have something to do with one-upmanship. What does that mean? Such a message destroys intimacy. Perhaps you are the one who is very spiritually in tune with the Lord, and you were brought up in a Christian home, and you went to Bible school, and you may even be able to read Greek and Hebrew. If so, your spouse may feel very intimidated to read God's word and to try to apply it to life. Which means, this is what I'm trying to say here, is that if somebody else in the relationship is more spiritually kind of advanced than the other person, then the other person might feel very inferior to that person. That's what this the author is trying to say here. And it says that, maybe you are overly active in the church and you hound your spouse with, you need to do this, you need to do the same, you need to be this, you need to change, you need to go here, you need to do this. You have to be very careful of the message you convey, because you could come across as a know-it-all and subtly turn your spouse away from God, not towards him. I have been guilty of this. I have been guilty of this, to be honest. Here we're going to try to keep it real and to be authentic. When we go hard like this, in my experience, sometimes, to be honest, one can come across as a know-it-all. I have issues, to be honest. Even my brother too. Sometimes he'd be like, sometimes my own feel like, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? Are you the only one that because I feel like I'm going hard about this thing, and I feel like, is it only your way, or are you the only one that knows this, that kind of way? So it can actually turn them away from God and not towards God himself. So we need to be careful of the kind of way we actually, portray God, or try to, invite people to actually know God. Because a lot of times, it's not that people don't want to know God. People actually want to know God. People cares about God. But it's just that sometimes it's being misinterpreted. The way we are portraying it, it's not like the way that it should be portrayed in some instances, or we just don't do it the right way. We just don't do it the right way. The Prince of Dublin, welcome. The Prince of Dublin. I like that name. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in today. Welcome. So, as I was saying, these are things that can actually make somebody not draw to God and actually pull them away. So they said that, remember that spiritual intimacy is not about impressing your spouse. It's not about impressing anybody. Spiritual intimacy is not about, I went to this, or I did this, or this, or, I can go to church 4 times, I can do this, I can do that. No, it's not about impressing anybody. It's about building a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ together. That's it. It's about building a relationship with God. And here, it's not about, when I'm talking about all of these things, I'm not trying to be a fanatic. I'm not trying to be like, what is she talking about? No. I just feel like, if you're in this life, this is my opinion. Please put it in your comment section below. If you're in this life, because I know that life is very brief, and life is, to be honest, oh Jesus. See, after going through grief and everything, what I came to realize about life is that life is short. And I really want to live a good life, whether things are working or things are not working. Do you understand what I'm saying? I intentionally want to live a good life. And so when we're talking about, God here, I feel like He is so important in our lives. He is so important. Thank you so much, Real DJ Temple.